Hello everyone, and welcome to the full series. This will be a movie-length video of my complete series of what if future Supreme Kai saved future Gohan, from Dragon Ball Z, all the way into the manga and the superhero movie. There is a title card on top where there is a playlist to all my other full series if y'all are interested in watching. Now grab a snack while watching this or have it play in the background while you are working, and let's dive into the completed story of what if future Supreme Kai saved future Gohan. So, before we start off, there won't be any future Gohan name, it would just be Gohan since there is no time traveling in this scenario. Just saying that before we start. So, we start off where Gohan will be facing the androids like normal. The fight where he is supposed to die, but the moment where the androids are prepared to finish him off with their blast attacks, in the last moment before he is struck with the attacks, he sees the figures over him saying that he cannot die just yet, as Gohan passes out. Once the androids stop firing, they go check to see his body, but they cannot find him. They are confused, but they are sure that he couldn't have survived the attack, and just chopped it up as they completely erased him as they flew away. Later, when Trunks would be awoken from being knocked out by Gohan, he would quickly head to the city, but would not be able to find Gohan's body anywhere. Rather than thinking him dead, Trunks would believe that maybe he is still alive somewhere. So in turn, with this, Trunks would not have the chance to achieve the Super Saiyan form. He would head back to Capsule Corp in hopes to find Gohan there with his mother. To his disappointment, Bulma hasn't seen Gohan either. Trunks grows angry, thinking that maybe he was wrong and Gohan is dead. He decided to give up on his training with his own, and hoped that he could obtain the transformation that Gohan had. Gohan finally wakes up to see that he isn't on Earth anymore. He gets defensive, as he does not know what is going on until he sees two beings approach him. He goes to attack, but is easily swatted away. They ask him to let him explain first. They introduce themselves as Kibito and the Supreme Kai, and that they saved him from his death. Gohan asks what they wanted with him, and they responded that they wanted to train Gohan as there was a bigger threat coming to Earth that is much worse than these androids. Gohan suddenly remembers Trunks and demands that he must return since Trunks cannot be going alone to fight the two androids. But the Supreme Kai said not to worry, as they are watching him from here. Supreme Kai said that if he wanted to return back to Earth soon, then they must start their training now. Gohan knows that he should go back, but also training could help him a ton since he knows he is not strong enough to fight off the androids. So, he would begin his training. He would go through similar training as Gohan did in the Buu Saga. He would reach the point where wielding the Z sword and would still be clumsy to break the sword. But with this, releases the Elder Kai and he is glad to be free from that prison, and would reward Gohan with doing the ritual dance for him to unlock his true potential. It would take around an entire day for the ritual to be done, and once it was, Gohan felt the immense power increase, and even obtained a new form called his Mystic form. With this power boost, he was confident that he could take on the androids. He did learn about the instant transmission technique from Supreme Kai. It would then begin his journey back to Earth to stop the androids. On Earth, it's been a week since Gohan went missing. Trunks has been training on his own, but hasn't grown much. He does see that his city is under attack by the androids and decides to go and try his best to stop them, to the dismay of Bulma, as she knows he is nowhere near ready to fight against the androids, but she couldn't stop him. He arrives at the city and faces the two androids. He asks what they do to Gohan, as they allowed him that they finally ended him, to a point where there was nothing left of him. Hearing this, Trunks grows angry and rushes at the two androids, but his mind was so consumed with rage that he didn't think about not being anywhere near strong enough to fight one of the androids, so they were beating on him easily without putting any effort. They got bored rather quickly with Trunks and prepared to kill him by shooting a ki blast at Trunks, but before it hit Trunks, the blast was deflected. Trunks looks up to see Gohan as he apologizes for being gone for a while. The androids are shocked to see Gohan still alive. Gohan looks up to the androids with an angry look, saying their days of destroying the planet is over. They give off a quirky smirk, not thinking of much of what training he could have done in a week, so they rush at Gohan to attack. But the blow they attacked on Gohan did nothing to him. Gohan is in his mystic form and blasts him away with ease. This power Trunks is witnessing is absolutely shocking to him. This fight would be far too easy for Gohan as he rushes Android 17 and one slash he is cut in half, and Gohan would use a ki blast to completely destroy him. Android 18 sees this and is frozen in fear as Gohan would use a Kamehameha wave to destroy her as well. Trunks is impressed with the power and asks him how he managed to get so strong. Gohan explains everything on their way back to the Capsule Corp. Once they arrive, Bulma is glad to see Gohan and Trunks still alive, and even more happy to hear that the androids are no more. She just wishes that they could bring everyone back until Gohan said it could be possible. He tells them to hold on to him as he teleports them all to the planet of the Kais, and he introduced them all to the Supreme Kai. He explains that they look over the universe and that they have saved him and trained him to be strong enough to stop the androids, as Bulma thanks them, but also asks Gohan how they could help them bring back the others. As Gohan explains that they should be able to locate New Namek. Supreme Kai says that he knows where they could find the New Namek planet, and he would teleport them to New Namek. The Namekians remember Bulma and Gohan, especially with how much he has grown, and he even meets Dende again. They quickly explain what had happened to the last 20 years, and they are sorry to hear that of the bad luck they had faced back on their home planet, and would allow them to gather the Dragon Balls. They would use the wish to bring back everyone who had died to the androids, so all the Z fighters would return besides Goku and Vegeta, sadly. They would also revert all the damage the androids had caused. Afterwards, they would thank the Namekians for their help, and even Dende would go to them back to Earth to be their new guardian. Once they returned to Earth, they are greeted with everyone, and they are glad to see their friends again, especially Gohan when he is reunited with Piccolo, when they also see Kami, who was still the current guardian of Earth. But once they talked about Dende, Kami happily gave the role to the guardian of Earth to Dende, and would fuse with Piccolo to become the one Namekian again. Trunks and Bulma are a bit sad that they won't be able to see Vegeta again, but at least things are much better than what they were. Supreme Kai would cut off the reunion short, saying that even though there is peace, now there will be another threat bound to show up and everyone would need to be prepared for it. Now the fighters are much stronger than they were since they died. They'll have been training in the other world and all of them knowing the Kaioken technique, but they would continue on training to keep growing. Supreme Kai said that he would take Gohan to keep training with him, but Trunks would also want to go with Gohan as well, to gain the power that he did when he defeated the androids. The others would like to join but also want to stay on Earth for a bit before joining them. Now with most of the problems fixed and life somewhat back to normal, Bulma would actually never use her time machine but keep it in case of anything in the future. The Z fighters that were brought back to life, they would try to readjust being alive once again and also meeting up with their friends that lived. Piccolo would stay on the lookout with Dende and Mr. Popo to continue his training. And Mr. Popo would tell Piccolo about the time chamber that he is always allowed to use it for training when the preparations of the future threat that the Supreme Kai warned them about. With the hybrid Saiyans, their training would continue on the planet of the Kais, and it wasn't going to be easy, but they would have a few good years before Babidi would arrive. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when this would be, since the new timeline is a lot different now. Currently, it is the year 780. This is when originally Gohan was supposed to die. 3 years later, Trunks would have traveled back in time to give Goku the heart virus medicine. And then 3 more years after that is where all the Cell game happened and Trunks would come back and kill his timeline of Cell. And then 10 years later in age 796, this is where he will return for the Goku Black arc. So between the years of 786 and 796 is where he faced his timeline version of Dabura and Babidi. So let's say this. 6 years has passed since the world was saved by Gohan, so currently is the age 786. The fighters on Earth have been continuing with their training, and then this timeline Cell finally came out of his cocoon and started havoc on the planet. Piccolo would have been far strong enough to deal with him and easily took him out. At this point, Gohan and Trunks would have returned, and since they learned anything they can from the Kais. Maybe now other fighters would head there to the planet of the Kais to train under them, but I feel like it would only be like maybe Tien and Piccolo. So let's say this. At this point, it would take another 7 years before Dabura and Babidi would finally arrive on Earth. So the age is 793. At this point, Gohan and Trunks would have continued their training, but also start living on their lives as normally. Gohan actually getting with this version of Videl and would have a kid. But it's not Pan, but a son. And he resembled a lot like Gohan's father, Goku. So he would have named his kid Goku Jr. When Dabura and Babidi arrived, they would have been easily taken out by the fighters and preventing the birthing of Majin Buu. With everyone being alive and strong, with most of them having their potential unlocked and having the mystic form, things are looking up for the fighters and the lasting peace on the planet. The Z fighters will be able to live their lives normally for now, but soon a time will come where a cat will be woken up to see the fighter that he has been dreaming of. On Earth, everyone is at Bulma's party, celebrating and enjoying the peace on Earth, with no one actually training at the time. Away, Beerus is finally awoken and asks Whis if the legend of the Super Saiyan God fighter that he is supposed to fight is born yet. Whis explains that more time has passed than the expected time for the Super Saiyan God. Beerus realizes his nap was a bit longer by a few years, and asks Whis why he didn't wake him when he told him to. Whis explained that the events that happened on Earth, and when it was time for Beerus to wake up, there was no one on the planet that would have gotten him a good fight, so he let him sleep until a little bit longer until the time seemed right. Whis looks at his staff and tells Beerus that almost the entire race of the Saiyans are extinct. The only notable ones are on Earth, and it's just 2 half Saiyans and one that is only 1/4 of a Saiyan. The news shocks Beerus. He asks him if the ones on Earth are any strong. Whis continues with, "For mortals, yes, they are practically the strongest, especially since they had trained under the Supreme Kai." He takes an interest and decides to have a little visit to Earth. It wouldn't take him long, but once he arrived, everyone is stunned, not knowing who these people are. Beerus will introduce himself as the God of Destruction, and he has come to find the Super Saiyan God. No one in the group ever heard about a Super Saiyan God, but Gohan and Trunks both step up saying that they are the strongest as they both power up into their ultimate form and go on to fight Beerus. Now if I had to put into perspective on their strength, they would definitely be leagues above Super Saiyan 3 Goku, especially since they trained with the Kai for a good few years. With their ultimate form, they put up a good fight, using the techniques they learned from the Supreme Kai, and their teamwork, but only made Beerus use around 15% of his power. After they were knocked away, the other Z Fighters would rush down Beerus. All 4 of them had the ultimate form as well, but even then, with all 4 of them, Beerus wipes the floor with them rather easily. Beerus is unamused and asks again about the Super Saiyan God. Goku said that they have no idea who the Super Saiyan God is. This makes Beerus angry and threatens to destroy the planet if the Saiyan God doesn't appear. Everyone gets scared as no one is strong enough to beat Beerus. Bulma jumps in saying that they should use the Dragon Balls, which they end up doing so, and asking about the Super Saiyan God and how to perform the ritual. When they hear about the fact of 5 pure-hearted Saiyans transferring their energy into one, their hearts sank. Here, they only have 3 Saiyans, and would need 3 more. Beerus gets upset, but Whis does decide to help out the people of Earth. He looks through the universe and finds a Saiyan out far in the universe, and would disappear and reappear quickly with Broly. Everyone was quite surprised that there was another Saiyan out there. Broly stands there confused but quiet. Now, this timeline Broly, he actually ended up alone after a while. Paragus would have ended up dying of old age and left Broly alone on the planet until Whis arrived. They are still short by 2 Saiyans, and Bulma said if only they had Goku and Vegeta around, then maybe. Whis does note that he did take an interest in Goku after learning that he defeated Frieza. He looked through his staff and did state that one of them was in hell, but like he did with Broly, he would disappear and come back with Vegeta. In hell, he was enjoying his time beating on the Ginyu Force and Frieza until he was teleported back to Earth. Bulma hugs him with tears in her eyes, being happy to see him again. And with Trunks, this is his first time seeing his father, and it does overwhelm him. Vegeta doesn't know how to feel either, but does sense how strong Gohan and Trunks have gotten, and does feel a sense of pride and proudness towards his son and Gohan. Whis does say that with Goku it may be a bit tricky, but he would try his best, and with luck he manages to bring Goku back as well just for a bit. Everyone is glad to see Goku once again, and after a short happy reunion they start the ritual. With Gohan being the strongest, he is the one to gain the form, and with the luck they manage to do so. Gohan and Beerus would then go on a full-on fight. This fight is immense, with Gohan being a lot stronger than Goku was in canon, even with just having one of his arms. Beerus is enjoying the fight, even with going all out against Gohan. Eventually his god form would run out, but still having the immense boost, he would transform into his ultimate form and continue the fight with Beerus. It does get to the point where Beerus is actually very satisfied with Gohan's strength, and even offers to train him and even Trunks on his planet to continue growing. Even though Gohan has a family, he would take up this offer in case of any more future threats out there in the universe that he would have to be strong enough to face. They would return back to the ground, and everyone celebrates the fact that their planet wasn't destroyed. They continue on with the party while Goku catches up with some people. Chi-Chi seeing Goku definitely made her a lot happier to see her husband once again. Gohan and Goku caught up a lot, even with Goku telling Gohan that he was watching the whole time and was proud of him for staying so strong throughout the whole thing. Goku even got happy with the news of him being a grandfather, and when he saw Goku Jr., he did really see himself in his grandson. Vegeta did catch up with Bulma and spend some time with his son since he owes him so many years. Whis would go behind Vegeta and tap his head, making his halo go away, saying it is a gift from Beerus. Bulma bursts into tears knowing that her husband is alive again. Whis would offer for the same chance for Goku, but he denies it for now. He notes that the planet will be at peace with Gohan and the others. He died the natural way and he is enjoying his time in the other world, but maybe one day he might ask to come back. The party would start coming to a close and it would almost be time for Goku to go back, but before he did, Vegeta went to Goku and asked him for a fight one more time before he would leave. Goku smiles, saying that he would love to have a battle with him. They both get into a sparring stance. Vegeta's all cocky, saying he was able to achieve a form above Super Saiyan in his time in hell. Goku said, "You really thought I wouldn't be training either?" As the fight goes on, they both transform into Super Saiyan 2. Now to Gohan and Trunks, they are still far stronger even without the Super Saiyan 2 power, but it is still an interesting form of power. Their fight is pretty even against the two, and they would exert more power. Goku smiles, saying he's enjoying this fight, but he brings up a notch and transforms into a Super Saiyan 3, which shocks Vegeta. The power is immense and almost rivals Trunks' power level now. Vegeta is pretty tired, and now being alive with his power of Super Saiyan 2 is harder to keep up, with not having to deal with the fact that he has an alive body with stamina. The fight finishes with Goku getting the win, but did enjoy the rematch with Vegeta. Whis would take Goku back to the other world, after everyone says their goodbyes to Goku. Once he returned, both Trunks and Gohan were prepared for their departure. Whis would offer the chance to Vegeta, and he would love to join, but after being gone for so long and Bulma would be really mad with him, he would decide to stay on Earth for a while and try to be able to use Super Saiyan 2 without all the major drawbacks. With that fact, he does want to begin training again, and he would have 2 good sparring partners to train with. Piccolo, who has no doubt is league stronger, and now with the other last Saiyan in the universe, Broly. Once they got on Beerus' planet, their training began instantly. Both the half Saiyans try with having a battle against Whis, but do struggle big time with not being able to hit Whis whatsoever. Trunks is struggling since he doesn't have the ability to sense God Ki yet, but it wouldn't take him too long to learn God Ki. But both of them would have a mystic form Whis does sense a power in them that is still hidden within the form that they gained from the Kais, so he would try to help them attain that form as well. Their training would be cut short though, as quickly a year would pass and people have landed on the planet with a similar army. It was Frieza's army and they came back to resurrect their leader. After the events of Battle of Gods, Gohan and Trunks have spent around a year training with the gods, perfecting God Ki, but also growing stronger, until on Earth, the Dragon Balls were collected by Frieza's army to wish back their leader, and once they did, they left the planet quickly. Frieza would decide to train up a bit after being beaten by Vegeta in Hell for years, and he would train up longer than the 6 months he did in canon, because he wanted to get revenge on what Vegeta did to him in Hell, and then plan out his attack. Once he trained up a bit, he would send out his army to attack Earth. All the Z fighters went out to go fight, which included Tien, Krillin, Yamcha, Piccolo, Vegeta, Broly, and Goku Jr. as well. All 7 fighters were fighting off the army pretty easily without any trouble. Frieza would come down and instantly go into his final form, and a fight between him and Vegeta would break down. Vegeta, enjoying this chance to kill Frieza, takes his time fighting Frieza because he thinks he is far stronger than Frieza. But he is wrong. Frieza goes full power in his final form, and then Vegeta transforms into a Super Saiyan 2 state, but quickly realizes that Frieza far surpasses him in strength. Seeing this, everyone tried to jump Frieza. Piccolo even transformed into his golden form that he achieved during his time training, but even then it's still not enough for this full power Frieza. Frieza laughs maniacally at seeing all the fighters not being able to stop him, until he sees Goku Jr., and he gets a flashback of Goku, and as if it was a nightmare, he flinches back. He asks where Goku was so he could kill him for what he did to him all those years ago. Yamcha blurted out that he is dead, which wasn't the best idea, but Frieza said that killing someone that resembles him will be enough as he shoots a death beam at him, but quickly Piccolo would protect Goku Jr. and taking the blast full force, which heavily injures him. And Goku Jr. seeing this, he grows angry as Piccolo was like another father figure to him, and this rage let him transform into the Super Saiyan. And again, Frieza got flashbacks from his time on Namek and grew a bit fearful of Goku Jr. as Goku Jr. would rush Frieza, but is stopped by Krillin saying he is nowhere near strong enough to fight him. Vegeta and Broly saw that Frieza was stunned and took their chance to hurt Frieza, which just gives them the edge in the battle to damage him pretty well. But quickly he recovers and then starts beating on them both. He focuses more on Vegeta as he has a bigger vendetta on him. Broly seeing Vegeta getting hurt, he starts to grow angry as he was his first real friend he ever had. He grew close to Vegeta and Piccolo in the time he spent with them training, and seeing that they were both really hurt from Frieza, his rage starts to boil up as he grows into his wrathful state and begins fighting Frieza and is winning against him. Frieza then has to resort to his newest form, being his golden form, which shocks everyone on how much stronger he really has gotten, and the fight turns against Broly, and he starts losing to Frieza. The other fighters try to join in, but they cannot get close to Golden Frieza as they aren't sure what to do now. Krillin gives a sense of being to both Vegeta and Piccolo as they try to come up with a plan to beat Frieza. Piccolo gets annoyed by all their training being for nothing as they are not strong enough to beat this threat as he powers up further, pushing his limits as he starts to grow in size and an orange tint shows in his skin as they all point out to Piccolo that he has changed. He is shocked about this new power, but thinks this is because of his potential being unleashed by the other Kai. Broly has gone into a Super Saiyan form, fighting Frieza, and Piccolo sees that he is losing control over himself when he is growing stronger and tells everyone to get into a safe distance from the fight as it is dangerous. Now the fight between the 3 fighters is insane. Frieza is holding on his own pretty well. Good thing he trained a little bit extra. Frieza is making sure that he fights a one-on-one and always pushes back another fighter while facing the other. Piccolo can't get much help from Broly as he is attacking both him and Frieza. Their fight can be felt all over the planet and even begin destroying good chunks of the planet. Frieza then realizes that Broly is not in control and uses this to his advantage as he maneuvers around trying to make the attacks hit Piccolo, which manages to work somewhat. Piccolo tries to aim his focus on Frieza to take him down, but they are in equal standings. Broly is weaker of the 3, but his power is rising. He is getting closer and closer to the duo. Away in Beerus' planet, Gohan senses what is happening on Earth. He quickly tells Trunks they need to go and quickly tell Whis that they will be back as they start using its transmission to teleport from planet to planet to get to Earth, but it could take a few minutes. Piccolo powers up further, trying to fight Frieza, but he is sent flying away by Broly, as Broly attacks Frieza and now is actually stronger than the 2. He starts beating on Frieza. Piccolo stays back as he isn't powerful enough to deal with Broly, but he is at least fighting the bad guy. Krillin and the other Z fighters head to Piccolo to give him another senzu bean, and ask what the plan is to calm down Broly. They are confident now that he could beat Frieza, but once he does, what is the plan to calm him down so that he doesn't destroy the planet himself? Piccolo says the Dragon Balls, but remember that Frieza's army used them to be revived, and they haven't recharged yet, so they can't use them yet. As they are discussing the plan, Goku Jr. wanders away from the group, looking at Broly, and this catches Broly's attention and instantly goes into attack Goku Jr. The others realize in horror as they all try to stop Broly, but Goku Jr. is teleported away in the nick of time before the attack, as everyone sees Gohan and Trunks. Gohan is visibly angry and asks the others what is going on as they explain Frieza being revived and returning, and Broly having the transformation that makes him extremely powerful, but he cannot fully control it. Gohan understands and puts his son down and tells him to stay at a safe place. He tells Trunks that Trunks will go fight Frieza while he takes care of Broly. Piccolo warns Gohan that Frieza is much stronger than what he was back on Namek, and Gohan already knew. He said that during their training in Beerus' planet, we said that there was a power hidden within their ultimate form, and that both him and Trunks achieved the form, and he guessed that Piccolo did as well. He looked over to the human Z fighters and said that it might be possible for them as well to get this form. They all call it the Beast form, as then they both power up into the form as Trunks heads to fight Frieza and Gohan goes to fight Broly. The two battles begin to shake the entire planet as everyone sits there in awe, seeing how much stronger the two are compared to them. Vegeta is dumbfounded how his son and Goku's son far surpass what they could have ever hoped to achieve. Trunks is easily taken on Frieza. Even in his golden form, he has no chance against Trunks, as he could not do any damage to him, and Trunks would easily take out Frieza. With Gohan, while he was fighting off Broly, he was showing some struggle as Broly began to grow more in power and seemed almost unbeatable. At first, it all looked well for Gohan, as in his beast form he was able to handle Broly easily, but Broly was losing control, as the fact that Gohan was beating him easily, dodging most of his attacks, and Broly was feeling major damage from him. This made him more angry, as he powers up further until Broly went completely berserk into the full power of his legendary Super Saiyan form. Gohan sensed this immense power increase of Broly, and not just that, but the huge difference in his looks as he grew much bigger. He was struggling to face this new powered up Broly, that he needed the help of Trunks. Together they tried to hold their own against Broly, trying to use combo moves on him, but even then, he was taking all their attacks. The Z fighters grow worried that even the strongest fighters aren't enough to take on Broly's never-ending strength. They suddenly both Whis and Beerus arrive on Earth, to the shock of the Z fighters. Gohan asks why are they here, and Whis was just curious on what was happening on Earth. Beerus, on the other hand, sensed a powerful fighter and wanted to see who it was. They were both shocked to see it being Broly, the Saiyan they met that was very quiet and not so strong when they got him from planet Vampa. Beerus grew quite excited and went in to fight Broly. Pushing his two pupils aside, he went to go in a full-on fight between him and Broly. At first, Beerus did not have to try hard to fight Broly, but the longer the fight went on, Beerus saw the increasing strength of Broly and had to use more of his power. Both forces used immense destructive power that was putting the Earth in danger. The fight was moved up into the atmosphere, where they went all out between the two. Beerus was enjoying the fight a lot more than when he fought Gohan. Broly was not backing down and not getting any tired, which made Beerus happy and even wanted him to go, and he even wanted Broly to go live on his planet so that he would always have a strong opponent. Beerus prepares an instruction ball to throw it at Broly as Broly takes it full force, but is being pushed back and slowly starts to get consumed by the attack. As a huge explosion erupts and everyone sees it from space, and everyone sees it from Earth. Whis teleports to Beerus and asks if he just killed Broly, as Beerus said he may have gone a bit much with the attack and no one should be able to have survived it. The dust clears as it shows Broly powered down and knocked out, but not dead, as he survived a full power attack from Beerus, as he was very impressed with this fighter. They head back to Earth as Gohan thanks Beerus for helping them out, which he denies, saying he just wanted to fight another strong fighter. They said that they will stay on Earth for now, but can always go visit them when they want to train again. Beerus is fine with that, as now he will be taking Broly to train him up and maybe give him a big role for the future as they quickly leave. Which sucks for Vegeta, as he didn't get a chance to ask if he could go train under Whis, but he does have Gohan and Trunks to train here on Earth, so he will try to train with them as much as he can and hope that he could achieve the form of power that they have. After the events of Ressurection F, the Z fighters return back to their normal lives with their training. Vegeta continued with his training with his son and Gohan, and even learned how to sense God Ki. Gohan did offer to Vegeta to go to the Supreme Kai planet to unlock his potential, but Vegeta passed on the offer as he didn't want a cheap way to grow stronger. Vegeta was spending some time in the time chamber with Piccolo, and with his orange form, he did grow much stronger and with having a strong training partner. Over at Beerus' planet, Broly has been training under Whis, trying to get control over his newly acquired form, and even having some sparring matches with Beerus. Beerus even tried training Broly, hard to call it training, as he does not really train anyone, but he does show some moves to Broly, as Broly has the characteristics of achieving a form of power that he himself has. He has grown a lot with the training from Whis, obtaining God Ki and the God form that Gohan got, but also the Super Saiyan Blue form. One day while in a sparring match with Beerus, two unexpected guests arrive on the planet, being Champa and Vados. Beerus and Champa would try out to sell their feud with the food competition, and it would end up the same. Beerus would start bragging about how his universe is better with having much stronger fighters as he shows Broly. Champa grew really angry, saying he has the more powerful fighters in this universe, as they come up with the idea of holding out a tournament between the two universes and bidding the planet Earth. Beerus would instantly decide for Broly to be part of the team, as they would travel to Earth to go pick up their other two pupils, Gohan and Trunks. After they hear about this tournament and the stakes, they will join up, a bit annoyingly, with how Beerus betted their planet. Beerus then asks who else could they bring along, as Gohan talks about Vegeta and Piccolo, how they have been training ever since Frieza, and Vegeta has attained God Ki, which surprised both Whis and Beerus. They would meet up with them at Kami's lookout, and after asking if they would be interested to join, they would join without hesitation. After gathering the group, and heading over to the planet, the lineup would be like this: Trunks, Piccolo, Vegeta, Gohan, Broly. The first matchup would be Trunks vs Potamo. Now Trunks would still try to fight against Potamo with physical attacks, but would easily notice how no matter what he threw at him, none of his attacks would hurt Potamo. Trunks no doubt would be smart enough to figure out a plan to throw Potamo out of the ring just like Goku did in canon, and easily win the first round. Then comes the second round with Trunks facing Frost, and with his experience going against Frieza, he doesn't seem to trust Frost at all. After hearing that he is a hero in his universe, Trunks would begin fighting Frost, and quickly Frost would see how outmatched he is against Trunks, and would transform into his final form. Trunks powers up into his beast form and begins fighting Frost, and at first Trunks was winning easily, but after some time Trunks began to move more slowly and powering down and getting beat, which confuses everyone from Universe 7 and even angered Vegeta. And eventually Trunks would lose the match, and then it would be Piccolo. Piccolo would enter the arena and quickly powers up into his orange form. Watching the fight between the two, he grew suspicious. Piccolo is a smart fighter and knows something weird happened during the fight, as Trunks was far more powerful than Frost, that he may have done something to alter the match. The fight begins and Frost tries to quickly end it by stabbing Piccolo in the arm, but he notices it. Quickly he removes his arm to stop whatever Frost injected him with to not let it spread to his whole body. This shocks everyone, not expecting that from Piccolo, but he easily regrows his arm. He knows his current form is too big and slow, so it would be easier for Frost to hit him again, so he reverts out of his orange form and goes into his golden form, which is enough for Frost. Frost will still attempt to use his poison to knock out Piccolo, but Piccolo pays attention, dodging all of Frost's attack, and find out how he injects the poison. And when Frost tries to strike again, Piccolo will grab the arm and give Frost a sucker punch right in the gut, which sends him flying out of the ring, eliminating Frost, and also exposing him of what he did, which shocks everyone. Piccolo would then face off against Magneto, and no doubt when trying to fight him, Piccolo would eventually make a remark towards Magneto and realize his weakness of being bullied. And I have no doubt Piccolo would be able to throw some insults at Magneto and would advance to the next fight against Kaba. But once he noticed that he is a Saiyan from Universe 6, he decided to take a step down and allow Vegeta to have his chance to interact with another Saiyan. Vegeta is thankful to Piccolo for giving him this chance. Once he arrives in the arena, their interaction will go on somewhat similar. Vegeta will still teach Kaba Super Saiyan the same way he did in the anime. The fight will be a lot closer with the lack of the Super Saiyan blue form that Vegeta doesn't have, but with Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, he is able to gain the edge on the battle and win against Kaba. But does say he is interested in visiting his Saiyan planet and see how the race is in another universe. Once that fight is over, Vegeta faces Universe 6's last fighter, Hit. Vegeta has a weird sense of Hit, and when the fight does begin, he is even more confused, seeing that the basic stance that Hit uses. Vegeta rushes at Hit, but quickly sent flying away without anyone seeing him move. Vegeta is powered down from his Super Saiyan 2 form, but he still has another form to use. He powers up and transforms into the Super Saiyan God form that Gohan used when he first faced Beerus. Everyone is impressed by Vegeta obtaining the form without doing the ritual. Vegeta would then try to fight Hit again, but even with this new form, he is no match for Hit, and he would easily be knocked out of the arena and even out of his God form with one attack. Gohan would be up next, as Piccolo warns Gohan, saying that Hit is an opponent not to be underestimated, and to note that he is possibly using a technique that could stop time. Gohan gets into the arena and goes into his beast form, not wanting to risk anything that could cause. The fight begins and Gohan tries to think of what he should do as he tries to use far range attacks, but easily Hit dodges them all. But Gohan almost sees Hit move slightly. Gohan powers up further to his max as he goes into attack, and when Hit activated his time skip, Gohan was able to see Hit move, but was not fast enough to dodge the attack. Gohan tries to figure out a way to beat Hit, but the more he tries to attack Hit, the more damage he takes, and he isn't making much progress without being able to touch Hit. It gets to the point where Gohan took so much damage that he is out of his beast form and is knocked out of his form, and is down for the round, to the shock of everyone, thinking that he is the strongest in the group, but Beerus says that they're all wrong, as that title belongs to Broly, as he has yet to show his new strength he has gained with his time training with Whis. Broly steps into the ring with Hit, and after seeing the last two fights, he goes into Super Saiyan form and goes in to fight Hit, but like before, he uses his time skip and punches Broly, with the difference being Broly does not take effect from the attack. Hit is shocked that someone is able to take his powerful punch. Broly smirks as he powers up further into his legendary form that is now controlled, and with this new power he rushes down Hit, and when Hit uses his time skip, Broly was able to move slowly during the time skip, which stunned Hit. Broly then powered up further as his aura changes in color, losing the green and turning more into a teal color. His strength greatly increases as it causes the planet to shake. Everyone is amazed on how strong he has become, but others ask what is this power, as Whis explained that Broly obtained the God form and even something beyond that, and learned to combine both powers of the God form and his Berserk style form, which took a while for him to learn to control both sorts of power. And even when he was training, he almost destroyed Beerus' planet. Hit tries to go to attack Broly as he uses his time skip ability again, but once he tries to attack Broly, he catches Hit's fist and then strikes him with a full force, and the immense power causes Hit to fly back off the arena and Broly to win the tournament. Champa is angry and tells Beerus he cheated by using a fighter that he has been training as he shoots the destruction ball, and shoots it towards Beerus, but Broly manages to catch it and disperse the energy, which shocked Champa, that Broly is able to control destruction energy. Beerus then yells at Champa for attacking since he was going to use the Dragon Balls to wish his universe's Earth back to life, and then their argument is cut off by the arrival of Zeno, which makes both Beerus and Champa extremely nervous. Everyone would show respect to Zeno, as things would go out normally without Goku being overly nice and even suggesting the idea of the tournament between all the universes. Once they leave, everyone will return back to Earth, with some of the Z Fighters training on Beerus' planet. Then really, they have plenty of time to just train until the next threat comes, being Moro. Let me explain. Without any time traveling occurring in this timeline of events, and even without Goku ever fighting Zamasu, he would really never attempt his Zero Mortar plan. During the entirety of the Goku Black Arc would never occur, and the Z Fighters would be able to avoid the entire problem. Also, without the influence of Goku to Zeno, the tournament of power is completely avoided as well, which could be a good thing as people won't ever get erased. Through these two arcs being avoided, the Z Fighters would be unbothered and continue their training until one day on Earth, Bulma calls Whis to get Vegeta and Broly back to Earth, as it is important, and she tells Gohan to go to the Supreme Kai, as they also need the help of Majin Buu. He asks why, as she says someone from the Galactic Patrol is requesting all of this. The Saiyans gathered up at the Capsule Corp and joined the Galactic Patrol. Broly, Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks all went to the Supreme Kai planet. Gohan will go down to speak to Supreme Kai to see if they still have the egg that contained Majin Buu, which he does, as he's never got a chance to destroy the egg. As then Miras of the Galactic Patrol asks if they could bring out Buu, as he is their key to defeat the prisoner named Moro. At first, Supreme Kai said no, as he did not want to release a big threat out in the world. But then, Elder Kai cuts in explaining the past of how the other Kais did stop Moro millions of years ago, and how the Great Lord of Lords was the one that was able to seal Moro with his godlike powers to imprison Moro. Now with the history of Buu, and how he absorbed every Kai, he would have the godlike power of the Great Lord of Lords. So, their only hope would be to have Buu stop Moro. He then asks how would they be even able to have Buu help if he is supposed to be evil. Miras says there is a person that they could ask who has the knowledge of everything in their universe. They go meet Master Zuno to ask him about their question. Miras would ask if there is any way they could separate the Great Lord of Lords from Majin Buu. He would explain there is a technique in a planet called Yardred that is called Force Spirit Fission, which grants the power to split the fusion of a being. After hearing this, they would depart to planet Yardred and meet the Yardradians, as Miras explains to Elder Paibara the situation and needs their help. He says he can teach them the technique, but Miras says that the group, they would need to split up with two of them staying here to learn a technique, while the rest would go face Moro and try to hold them off. Gohan and Trunks would be the ones to stay, as Broly and Vegeta would head with the rest to stop Moro. So the group would begin heading out, as the Supreme Kai could sense Moro, as he and the two Saiyans would Kai onto the planet Namek. Vegeta and Broly would be ready to face Moro, but Vegeta would go first, this time having the huge character development he had in this arc. The fight would go on as it did normally, with Moro absorbing life on the planet until the point where both Broly and Vegeta could no longer grow Super Saiyan, and they get beat by Moro. 3 days later, they are taken care of by the Namekians, but they say ever since they have been knocked out, Moro has been trying to collect the Dragon Balls. It's Supreme Kai and Miras. When they were defeated, the Supreme Kai quickly teleported back to Miras to get him to teleport him to Namek. They all sense Moro heading in this direction, and they both prepare to face him. Miras helps out a little with trapping him, but yet again, the two Saiyans can't do much with Moro absorbing their strength. Broly gets an idea and uses the last of his energy to create Destruction Ki, as he shoots it at Moro. It does heavily damage him, but he uses the remaining strength to absorb the energy of the planet, and then he got a younger look, as the wish for him to gain his magical abilities came back, and he grew much stronger. He would head over and kill the Frieza soldier to make his second wish, and then leave, and even this time manages to escape. With Moro gone, and them having no clue where he went, everyone retreats back to think about what to do. They decide that they needed to head back to Earth, but Broly would go back to Beerus' planet, as the destruction power he had was useful in the battle against Moro, and if he could learn how to control it more, then maybe he could be able to defeat Moro. They would still have the 2 months they did before Moro would attack Earth. Vegeta, with Goku Jr., Piccolo, and the Earthlings all began training for when Moro would try to invade the Earth, while Broly continued to learn the power of destruction, and while Gohan and Trunks continued their training on Yardred. The 2 months went by rather quickly, and Moro reveals what his second wish was. He released all the prisoners of the Galactic Patrols, and they started invading Earth. But this time, even though they have less fighters protecting the Earth, they are much stronger, especially since Piccolo has his orange form, and the Earthlings actually achieved the beast form during the 2 months of training. Problems started to show when a fighter called Android 73 arrived, and then started fighting the Z fighters, but this time they did not know about his ability to copy other abilities, and this took a turn for the worse after he copied the ability of a stronger Piccolo, and it was bad as the android grew stronger, and what made the situation worse was that Moro arrived. The humans stayed to fight the android, while Vegeta, Goku Jr., and Piccolo went to fight off Moro. Even though they have him with the amount of fighters, he is still absorbing the planet's energy, which makes him grow stronger and the fighters weaker. Goku Jr. gets a rage boost and goes to rush at Moro, but even then it does nothing as Moro grabs Goku Jr. and begins draining his life energy. Piccolo seeing this, he rushes over to Moro, but he is stabbed right in the chest by Moro with ease as he falls down. Vegeta watches as he isn't sure what to do, until Moro is kicked and sent flying crashing into the mountain, as Gohan and Trunks return with an extra fighter, being the Great Lord of Lords. During the ending of the 2 months, they managed to learn Force Spirit's Fission, and then began working on splitting the Great Lord of Lords out of Boo's body. It was extremely hard and it took some time, but they did manage to be able to split the two apart, and once they did, they immediately all began to head towards Earth to stop Moro. Krillin quickly gave some senzu beans to Gohan so that he could give it to his son and Piccolo. The Great Lord of Lords says that he will handle Moro, but they would need to figure out a way to stop the android. Everyone began jumping Android 7-3, but once he began losing, 7-3 switched to Moro's ability, which slowly the fighters would have their energy begin to be absorbed. Gohan and Trunks would try to use their new ability that they just learned, but it did not work as 7-3 was just an android rather than a living body. Quickly, Trunks thought of a plan and used the ability on himself so that 7-3 could not absorb his own energy, and quickly Gohan would do the same. They have their brawl with Android 7-3 and started off with having the edge against him. But slowly, during the battle, Android 7-3 will grow stronger and stronger. Meanwhile, with Moro and the Great Lord of Lords, their fight mainly had the Battle of Magic. Their fight was similar to the one they had many years ago, as Moro tried his hardest as he did not want to get trapped like he did, as the Great Lord of Lords tried to use his best to use all of his godlike abilities to steal Moro away, but then soon realizes that Moro grew too strong, that his magic won't work like it did back then. Once Moro realizes this, he quickly grew cocky and rushed down the Great Lord of Lords and started beating on him. The others soon seen this, and then Gohan and Trunks grew furious, powering up to their full power into their beast form, and together they perform a Senko at Android 7-3. They used a Kai Kai to get up close to him so that they could not absorb their power, and together they completely erased Android 7-3 with their attack. They quickly move on to help out the Great Lord of Lords, as they both use the Force Spirit Fission technique to begin sucking out all the power that Moro absorbed to go back to his original place, making him much weaker. Even with him trying to absorb more energy, they would just bring it back to its source. Without Android 7-3, Moro could not absorb him, permanently have his perfect form, so he would be stopped here. After he was weak enough, the Great Lord of Lords sealed him away once again so that he wouldn't be able to use his magic nor break out of prison. Once Moro was captured, they gathered up the rest of the prisoners to put them back in jail, and then the Galactic Patrol also rewards the fighters for helping them with taking down Moro and bringing the prisoners back. They would return back to Earth to continue their life, with them Broly showing up pretty late to the party and learning about the defeat of Moro and apologizes for not showing up in time. But he is glad that they managed to stop Moro themselves, as he wasn't so sure how his new power would help, as he isn't too confident that he could control it as well. Everyone is wondering about the new power that he has achieved, as they all think that he didn't even need to be more powerful than he already is. Vegeta is hearing this and he wants to go back to Beerus's planet to continue on with his training, and after having to deal with a threat so major that they both almost lost, Trunks and Gohan will return to Beerus's planet to continue on with their training in case of any future strong foe to ever pop up to threaten the universe. Before we get into the superhero arc, we must discuss the Granola arc. Now originally, it starts off with Granola capturing the original copy of Android 7-3 as a part of the android survived the events of the Moro Arc. They were a big piece of the story as the android provided important information for the Heaters about the Dragon Balls and the fact that Saiyans were still alive at this time. Also, since in this timeline of events without the Tournament of Power, Frieza would not ever get the chance to be brought back to life again, though Elec won't ever have anything to tell Granola that would drive him to act on his revenge against Frieza or the Saiyans. So he would never want to grant the wish of becoming the strongest in the universe. So everyone on planet Cereal is irrelevant to this timeline, as their problems would remain or be dealt with between themselves, and maybe one day Granola and the Heaters would eventually face off, but they would never really cross paths with any of the Z fighters. Now to our Z fighters, the Saiyans would be on Beerus's planet training ever since Moro, but if we go back to Earth with the Red Ribbon Army and Dr. Hito, things would be completely different. Let's say that Magenta and Dr. Hito both are still alive in this timeline. It would be a lot harder for Magenta to try to bring Dr. Hito into the fold of the Red Ribbon Army, with how their androids practically almost completely destroyed the entire human race. Let's say Magenta managed to bribe Dr. Hito to build them an android to stop Goku and Capsule Corp. Note, since Perfect Cell wasn't ever a thing, Magenta wouldn't really want him to build that right away or even ask him to build that. With Dr. Hito, he wouldn't want to create androids even if he wanted to make them into superheroes, since they would be too close to the twin androids that caused havoc on their planets many years ago. So Dr. Hito would create a superhero, just not the original Gamma 1 and 2. He would look through Dr. Gero's research and find out that he had another android he created named Cell. Seeing this android was completely separated from the other androids, he would focus on this one, but make him more look like how Perfect Cell looked like in the end. But there was another thing he saw that was interesting about Dr. Gero's research that allowed the androids to absorb energy, making it their own, and decided to add that when he would want to create his own superhero android. Creating another Cell, but not naming it the same, but this time calling him Gamma C. He would look like if Cell was perfected. Main difference being his personality, as Dr. Hito would want to give Gamma Cell the personality of a superhero, like Gamma 1 and 2 did. Next thing is, who would the Red Ribbon Army target now? It wouldn't directly be Gohan without the entirety of the Cell games ever happening. They would spy on the Capsule Corp as they would target there first, until one day they see Goku Jr. visiting Bulma, and they would see how he looks exactly like Goku, who originally was Gero's target. They think that this child had some connection to Goku, and would end up spying on him until they find out where Gohan would live. Magenta would want to strike there and attack the child, but Dr. Hito was against it, so they would take more time to observe as they see Piccolo training Goku Jr. After watching where Piccolo would stay, that's when they would make their move. One day, Piccolo is attacked at his own home by Gamma C. He goes into his golden state, beginning to brawling out with Gamma C. As fight goes on, Piccolo underestimated how strong this person is, and Gamma C would be able to take the upper hand and beat him in the fight, thinking he killed Piccolo. Piccolo would survive the attack from Gamma C, and secretly would follow him to the base of the Red Ribbon Army. Once he sees it, he grows worried and immediately flies back to gather the Earthlings, and Goku Jr. would even want to join. He explains what he had found, and this shocks the others, knowing that last time they faced against the Red Ribbon Army, they lost and almost had their entire population being wiped out. This time, they are more confident with all the training they have been up to. They all begin to head out to the secret base. Before they leave, Piccolo would ask Bulma to try to contact Whis to get the Saiyans back on Earth, as they might need the extra help. Once they arrive, they are instantly met with Gamma C. He was surprised that Piccolo was still alive after he thought he killed him. Piccolo says that it won't happen again as he powers into his orange form and their brawl will begin. At first glance, it seems like Piccolo has the edge with the battle, but the more it went on, Piccolo began to lose ground. The other fighters tried to join in to help Piccolo, but not even with the advantage in numbers, no one was strong enough to face Gamma Cell alone. No matter what they threw at him, they barely are able to do any damage. It comes to the point where the Earthlings are down and knocked out, with only Piccolo and Goku Jr. left. Piccolo tries to make Goku Jr. leave, as it is not safe, but he refuses to leave. Piccolo continues to fight against Gamma C, with Goku Jr. in the back shooting ki blasts that would make Gamma C lose his focus. It does work, with Gamma C shooting a ki blast right at Goku Jr., which he didn't hold back, and Piccolo would go over and cover Goku Jr. taking the attack full force. Piccolo powers out of his orange form, from being too weak to continue fighting as he just took a powerful attack, as he tells Goku Jr. to run. Gamma sees someone feels bad as he didn't mean to send an attack that strong to a child, but Goku Jr. begins to get enraged as he charges at Gamma C, trying to fight him with all his power. But Gamma C easily avoids all of his attacks, but doesn't want to strike back as he does have that superhero mindset. He pushes Goku Jr. away as he is sent flying, but is catched by his father, as backup finally arrives, being the 4 Saiyans. Gohan powers up into his beast form and goes to fight Gamma C, while Trunks helps out the other fighters. Their fight begins and many pressure waves are felt throughout the battlefield, as the whole Earth can feel the battle. Gohan is winning the battle as he is stronger than Gamma C, but then Gamma C can see that he is gonna lose, so then he ends up stabbing Gohan with his tail, absorbing his energy, making himself stronger. Gohan is close to dying, but then Gamma C is kicked away by Vegeta as Trunks catches Gohan. Vegeta powers up into his newly acquired form he gained from training, with it being his Super Saiyan Blue evolution form. He grows cocky as he grins and tells Gamma C that he will be destroyed. Gamma C sees this and powers up further, calling Vegeta a villain, and their brawl begins. Quickly though, Vegeta sees how outmatched he is against Gamma C, especially after he absorbed the strength of Gohan. Gaining this massive power boost, even Vegeta's newly found power is not enough, as he soon begins to get his power absorbed by Gamma C, but then is interrupted by Broly as he sends Gamma C flying away. He says that he will end this quickly as he shoots a destruction ki blast at Gamma C, thinking it would end him, but with the amount of power he absorbed, it gave him enough strength to deflect the destruction energy, as this surprised Broly. He then rushes at Gamma C. Another fight begins, Broly in his legendary Super Saiyan form going against Gamma C, and Gamma C is stronger than Broly. But Gamma C does know how Broly is slowly growing in strength. Broly powers up and shoots multiple ki blasts, but is confused on how they just disappear without causing any destruction. Broly soon realizes that Gamma C has been absorbing his energy and helping him grow stronger. They continue on fighting, with Broly trying to keep it closer range, but when he does, Gamma C would stab Broly with his tail to absorb more energy. Broly takes a step back thinking if he should use the power he got from training with Beerus. He isn't sure if he can control it at all, but it's the only thing that he can think of. This battle would keep on going, with Broly always catching up in strength with Gamma C, but if he gets too close, he would get his energy absorbed, and even if he shot from afar, it would be the same scenario, which would make Gamma C stronger and have the fight continue onwards. He powers down and begins to power up again. Everyone is wondering what Broly is up to as his power rises and a purple aura begins to form around him as his hair grows purple and he loses his eyebrows. Broly powers up into his Ultra Ego form, and the power everyone senses is immense. They all compare it to the same energy that Beerus would use. Vegeta says that Broly has been sparring with Beerus non-stop on his planet, and then he ended up learning how to use destruction-like power as if he was the god of destruction. Their fight rages on, but the difference is that Broly is much more powerful, and even though Gamma C can do damage to Broly, it only makes him stronger. And this time Broly is not letting Gamma C absorb any energy. He sees how pointless the fight is, and would grab a hold of Gamma C and uses a Hakai to completely erase him from existence, as he would then power down. Everyone celebrates their victory. Seeing Broly's new power, Vegeta now has a goal on where he would want to grow to surpass Broly, but also wonders if maybe in the future, Broly would end up surpassing Beerus and he would become the new god of destruction of Universe 7. After the defeat of the androids, most of the Z Fighters feel redeemed after their loss from the original androids and are proud of how far they came along and managed to come back, all thanks to the likes of Gohan and the Supreme Kai. And that's where I'm going to leave it off for now. Tell me how you think about the final part and how I did with the superhero arc. What do you think about the entire story as a whole? I enjoyed how Gohan and Trunks became the lead of the Z Fighters and seeing how the future timeline could have recovered after the androids. What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Next what if would be what if Beerus arrived at the end of GT. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Hope to see y'all there, and thank y'all so much for watching and all the support of this series, and I will see y'all in the next series. See ya.